Gilgo Beach horror. The chilling case of a serial killer uncovered in 2023. In December 2010, a police officer and his K-9 unit were searching for a missing woman, Shannon Gilbert, along the remote stretch of Ocean Parkway in Long Island, New York. What they found shocked the nation: the skeletal remains of a woman wrapped in burlap. As authorities continued searching the area, they uncovered more bodies, all dumped in a similar fashion. Within a few months, the bodies of 4 women had been found. These murders became known as the Gilgo Beach murders, and they horrified both locals and the wider public. Who were the victims? The bodies were later identified as Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, Amber Lynn Costello, and Maureen Brainerd Barnes, all of whom were sex workers who advertised services on Craigslist. Their families were devastated and frustrated with the lack of progress in the case. For years, the case grew cold, with investigators coming up short despite the number of bodies and the apparent patterns linking the victims. The discovery of multiple bodies shocked the relatively quiet Long Island community. The remote nature of the area and the grisly details of the murders created a sense of fear and unease. People speculated about who could be responsible. Was it a local, a transient, or someone much closer to home? The Gilgo Beach serial killer became a dark, lingering mystery that haunted both investigators and the public. The elusive search for a suspect. Over the years, law enforcement followed numerous leads, conducted interviews, and released bits of evidence to the public. But no significant breakthroughs were made. Despite FBI involvement, the elusive nature of the killer made the case difficult to solve. The lack of forensic evidence and the remote dumping location added to the complexity of the investigation. Who was Shannon Gilbert? In 2010, Shannon Gilbert went missing after calling 911, claiming she was being chased. Her body was found in 2011, but her death was ultimately ruled accidental, although her family and some investigators disagreed. Some believed her case was tied to the Gilgo Beach murders, but others pointed out differences in the manner of her death. Over time, several theories and suspects were considered. Many believed the killer was a local with deep knowledge of the area, possibly even someone with ties to law enforcement. However, none of these leads panned out. With every passing year, the case became more frustrating and mysterious, leaving the victims' families without answers. Breakthrough in 2023, Rex Heuermann arrested. In July 2023, the case took a shocking turn when Rex Heuermann, a seemingly ordinary architect from Massapequa Park, Long Island, was arrested in connection with the murders of Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. The arrest was a major breakthrough in a case that had left law enforcement stumped for over a decade. Who is Rex Heuermann? Heuermann, a 59-year-old architect, led a double life. To those who knew him, he appeared to be a normal, hard-working man with a family. But behind the facade, he was allegedly a calculating predator who preyed on vulnerable women. Heuermann's arrest shocked his community. He lived less than 15 miles from where the bodies were discovered, suggesting that he had intimate knowledge of the area. Investigators had long suspected the killer had used burner phones to communicate with his victims. Advances in forensic technology helped law enforcement trace the use of burner phones and credit card records to Heuermann. A crucial piece of evidence came when DNA from a pizza box discarded by Heuermann matched DNA found on one of the victims' bodies. Heuermann was finally linked to the murders, and his arrest was announced in July 2023, reigniting public interest in the case. The legal proceedings and public reaction. Following his arrest, Rex Heuermann was charged with multiple counts of murder. He pled not guilty to the charges, and his defense team is preparing for what will likely be a lengthy legal battle. As of 2023, the trial is still pending, but Heuermann faces the possibility of life imprisonment if convicted. For the families of the victims, Heuermann's arrest brought a mixture of relief and grief. While many were grateful for the breakthrough, they were also heartbroken by the years lost without answers. The families have been vocal throughout the case, demanding justice for their loved ones, and the arrest has provided a long-awaited glimmer of hope. The arrest of a prominent local figure like Heuermann shocked not only the local community, but also the entire nation. For years, people had speculated about the identity of the Gilgo Beach killer. The fact that it was a man living quietly among them, going about his life as an architect and family man, deeply disturbed many. What's next? As of the end of 2023, Rex Heuermann is awaiting trial. Investigators continue to explore whether he is linked to additional victims, as many bodies remain unidentified. The case is still ongoing, and the public and the families of the victims are anxiously awaiting further developments. The Gilgo Beach murders, after more than a decade of mystery, may finally be on the path to resolution. The arrest of Rex Heuermann has reignited hope for justice for the victims and their families. However, questions remain, and the trial will undoubtedly capture the attention of the nation. The horrific nature of the crimes, the long-standing fear, and the unexpected arrest of a local figure make this case one of the most shocking true crime stories of 2023.